It's me, Vera, here to remind you that this is an adult podcast. That means we're going to deal with tough topics. Take a break if you need it, and be kind to yourself, because we sure won't be.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Stitch of Fate, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition podcast. As always, I am your storyteller, Mike Martin, joined by my four wonderful players, Dot, Mark, Josh, and Bub. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey.
The final five. We are on the final five of the season.
It's kind of terrifying, actually. There's a lot of there's a lot of bad stuff happening.
There's a lot of bad things happening around you. It's almost like it's a vampire world is shit, and it's not a good place to be.
It's almost like a world of darkness.
Yeah, I just want the world of sunrise. Where's that? DM there.
The world of rainbows.
Yeah, exactly.
Unicorns.
I'm excited, obviously, but before we go in, our usual. Hey, guys, thank you guys so much for supporting us. We wouldn't be able to do this without you, both you just listening and supporting the podcast by sharing it with friends or family or whoever and just being an active listener. Or if you were going above and beyond and heading over to patreon.com/podbynight and throwing a few bucks our way to keep us chugging along on next season, all that stuff is appreciated. If you are on Patreon, things are going to be swapping and changing over there to provide more value for you guys. If it hasn't been already, I don't know. I haven't checked yet. But if you head over there, we've got a bunch of stuff kind of moving around over on that Patreon to make it just more appealing to everybody to just want to jump in and help out. We've got behind the scenes stuff. We've got little improv bits, which we just recorded one last week. I don't know if it's out yet, but you'll be getting it soon.
It is out.
And there you go.
Yeah, if you ever wanted to hear Sean teaching Vera how to play video games, then hop over to Patreon.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And you get the added bonus of getting to see our faces because it's a video.
It's true. And you can also get a special color name on our Discord, which is open to the public, but there's a secret room for only patrons if you guys want, into that secret club kind of thing. Not that people who are into vampire would be into secret communities or anything like that.
Sounds boring, Mathis. Who likes that?
Yeah, extremely boring. Obviously, if you follow all our Twitters, we've also got some merch and a merch link you guys can go check out over at Linktree. So on our Twitter page, it shows you where you can go get all that stuff. That also directly supports us and helps us move along. So thank you guys for really just kind of hitting us on all bases and allowing us to keep telling stories for you and keep moving. Did I miss anything important in terms of that? I feel like I may have missed something, but maybe not. Oh, and head over to twitch.tv/podbynight and follow that channel for no good reason. Just follow it. Like, we have it. Just follow it. And now we may or may not be using it in the future. Who knows? All right. If that's it, we can just kind of jump in because lucky for me, I don't really have to do much right out the gate. It's going to be a conversation for you guys. So with that said, let's rein it in, set the scene, and see what our coterie is up to. We pick up the following night. After the night the coterie walked away from the Tremere Chantry and dealt with their business afterward. As the night only begins to start and we hear the footsteps, heavy footsteps, of Duke pacing in his familiar room. Tonight's going to be a stressful one that requires a lot of care, planning, and thought. One misstep and everything could go awry, and everything that you've built, this house of cards, could come tumbling down in an instant. And as those thoughts pass through Duke's mind, in strides Vera, her high heels clacking against the concrete. With Sava in tow, I imagine Sava keeps himself relatively close by, especially on a night like tonight. Whether Max is there or not, sometimes it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I'm here.
And as the chick of a lighter hits and a flame kicks in, he's been standing silently in the hallway, waiting for everybody to arrive, and as the last one files in, that cigarette makes its way around the corner with Max as well. A plain concrete room, but just around the corner, a package awaits. Prince Panhard.
Okay, so how do we move this package?
It's a good question. It is no small package. No offense, Prince.
You get the top, I get the tail.
Yeah, I mean, I could carry this by myself. But the question is, what's the smart play here? We want me to schlep this over to the chantry like I did Sava?
Seems rather dangerous, considering in fact both Father and his lackeys are walking the streets of New York, and there's no telling who can actually see you.
Yeah, from personal experience, it's not the 5-star treatment.
Fair enough.
You know, what I used to do, if you want to carry people around, you get a big white van. People don't ask you if you're wearing, like, a high-vis and a big white van. I mean, Vera would have to stay at home because it would clash, but it's just put it in the back there and no one will ask questions.
I think that's a bad idea. For a variety of reasons, starting with a white van. Are you offering children candy as well?
No. But the Camarilla vampires, they get real suspicious of things like that, and then they come looking. Well, you know the rest.
Okay. So, me just carrying it over seems like a bad idea.
I have a thought, but it's, I don't actually dislike the idea of moving the prince in plain sight. Something that the Camarilla and Father would ignore. We could simply move her like every other dead body.
What are you talking, like, in a morgue wagon? A hearse?
Yes.
Huh.
Duke is rather charming sometimes and tends to get his way when he asks. And we have a possible option for an excuse one might show up. And Vera gestures to John in the doorway.
Oh.
He looks like he could topple over any second. I stand like real close to him.
He is unfazed.
As true as this may be, it would be a good cover to have one show up. And then we simply borrow it for the evening.
Okay. So, looks like Duke's gonna be the one doing the legwork on this, convincing some people to, send one our way, yeah?
I think it might be more than that, to be honest. It's not so simple. Let me position and posit an idea, perhaps, here. Mia has known exactly where we are at all times, when we are. There's a high likelihood that Father also knows exactly when and where we are. He's watching this place. He knows that we have the prince. If we were to load the prince in the back of a hearse, the Camarilla might be a lot less suspicious, but I believe Father will be. Why don't we split? Goose chase, red herring. I like the hearse idea, Vera, that's solid. But I think that we are underutilizing our abilities here.
But there is no prince in the hearse?
Well, I think that Sava has a way with shadows, yes?
Yes?
Are you capable of obscuring? Can you disguise something or hide something in shadow? Is that amongst your abilities?
It would be a stretch. Sure.
I think it might be worth actually moving you two in sewers. Max can go invisible, and you can obscure in shadow. Max is strong enough to move this on his own. But I don't think that he should go alone. And I think that we should pretend as if we are splitting and moving this.
Okay, so the hearse is the decoy. Above ground.
Yes, I do believe so.
I take the real package, me and Sava go through the sewers, get to the chantry that way. Not a bad idea.
Now, Father, I hate calling him that, did say that he could kill the prince at any moment. If he sees us moving in a hearse, whether it's a red herring or not, couldn't he just pull the plug?
Theoretically, yes, but I do believe that the situation extends to lead itself that things are worth more alive than dead.
And say he does jack the hearse. He shows up with his goons. He finds, what, you and Duke?
Problems, mostly, I presume.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's not like he said you can't ride a hearse around before he gave you your ultimatum. He might realize that he's been played, but technically you haven't done anything except get in a hearse and drive around.
What if we just let them pick up a body? Do we even have to be in the hearse?
Fair enough.
They would think that maybe the Kine are working for us, and we just let it play out. They follow him all the way back to a funeral home to find what? An empty casket?
Yeah, maybe put some sandbags in there for weight, but, okay. Well, if that's the case, then maybe all four of us take the underground route, just so we got plenty of backup in case something goes south.
Thoughts, Duke?
It's ideal. I do believe we're much stronger together than we are separate.
Agreed. Well, John, are you ready to play dead?
He looks over to you after staring off to the distance for a moment. He's like, I apologize. I wasn't paying attention.
Right. Seems that he is ready. A simple phone call, I guess, to a local mortuary will do. Maybe one on the other side of town, so they have a ways to drive. Give us more time to complete our mission.
Oh, no worries, it's fine. I have a line in with most of the mortuaries around here.
Oh, beautiful. And where exactly at the Chantry are we delivering this? I imagine we can't walk her in the front door.
From my understanding, it may be the only means in, at least that I'm aware of. As you saw from the inside, the Chantry is much larger than it appears to be.
Well, that could cause problematic for Sava, but as long as they're ready to meet us immediately, I imagine Sava can remain in the shadows, and Max can deliver under guise of invisibility.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I filled you guys in on that meet I had, yeah?
Yes, did we learn anything about our dear Gustav?
Well, I had a little sit-down with Kaiser, no less. Yeah, pretty rarefied company. And he's got a lead. One that we can follow up on right after. I got a name. From the sounds of things, might be an ex-government spook. Or current government spook, I'm not sure.
Interesting. More than likely his connection with sending those SI.
Exactly.
Actually, Mathis, here's a question. Was Max able to complete, on the way back, was he able to complete that shopping trip he had planned? He was getting low on blood, so he was just going to personally...
Oh, yeah, we'll just, for the sake of ease, we'll say you got another couple of bags to throw into your fridge for now.
Okay.
Well, this is a bold plan, but it's the best one we've had in a while.
Okay.
I think it feels organized and with the least amount of repercussions.
Here's something. Is there any percentage in making them think that at least one of us is traveling with the coffin?
Mia's pretty observant. She gets suspicious at basically everything.
You know, I do love a macabre evening ride. I'm sure the man or woman driving the hearse won't mind my company.
Have you got a very, very nice veil to shade your face and cover the tears?
Sava, do you even know who I am?
Then you're set.
Yes, dear Vera will be in mourning. John, I need you to lie low and not be seen.
Shall I just remain here then?
Yes, please.
He finds his typical wooden chair. He waddles himself over to it and lowers himself down with a large
Well, Vera, I wasn't necessarily thinking that you would actually go. And like I said, there might be a percentage in having them think one of us is going along with the coffin. Now, you mentioned you got a hat with a veil. We got anybody who we could get to wear that hat in your place?
Oh.
It would fit over your ears.
Yeah, I'm not I gotta carry the coffin. Come on. Besides, that ain't my color.
So, I know you're looking at me.
I'm sorry, as beautiful as it may look on me, I think I don't quite fit the part, being nearly 7 feet tall. However, there is Miss Hughes down the street. She fits your general visage.
I see where this is going.
Yes, and I've needed to talk with her anyways.
I don't know if putting her in the line of fire is necessarily a good thing either.
Oh,
I think this is everyone's fight now. When they realize that there is a potential Sabbat threat on the city, those who decide in inaction are directly taking an action of enacting. It's a problem.
Well, there's only one thing we can do, which is ask. I won't force her. It's not really part of our deal, but I can at least ask.
Very well.
Is that the plan then, Vera, to step away and head to the school?
Yes.
How long has it been since Max has checked in with Stinky?
Less than a month, but probably coming close to a month would be my best guess.
Then I think Max will go with Vera to the school.
Great.
Max
Absolutely.
knows a way in, the way he typically has to pop in through many different holes and side entrances.
Yes. Give us a half hour. We'll be back and see if Vicky is on board with our little plan.
Vera strides out with Max shortly in tow, leaving Sava and Duke alone with a Torport prince nearby. As they step out, you can hear them leave, heading up the stairs until eventually their footsteps fade and meld with the background noises and cars of New York. Do Sava and Duke speak, or do we cut scene?
I think Sava just states, most people wouldn't trust someone like me this close to a prince.
I don't, Sava. I don't trust you. I don't trust you at all, but you have extended just enough for me to realize that you're either stupid or ballsy, in which case I've calculated your immediate demise. Don't fuck up, Sava.
Good. More threats. We're becoming very fast friends.
As that line trickles from the lips of Sava, and our camera pulls away, flying down the hallway and up the stairs to catch up with our two familiar friends. Can I please get from you specifically, Max? You're going to be moving and going invisible, or will you be staying visible and wrapped in clothing?
Max is going to, as he usually does when he's out in public, just in case, he always wraps up. But Vera's just walking over.
You're heading down basically the block, right? It's only about a block down.
Yeah, it's a block out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
Max,
head to the dancing.
Max is definitely going to go invisible then, rather than
Okay,
being
please
this,
make me
this
a
weird
roll.
shrouded figure following this classy lady. And this will be a rouse check.
Okay, you get a little hungrier.
Uh,
As you step out,
He takes care of that because he's got a blood bag with him.
Sure, guys. So you slurp down that blood bag, keeping yourself down firmly at one hunger. You can hear the slurping behind you, Vera, and as the plastic of this blood bag clatters down on the ground and you turn to see, he is already long gone. Though he's near you, certainly.
As we walk, Vera will hold some light conversation, and she says, Max, I'm afraid that no matter how this turns out, we are destined to have to leave this city.
It's looking that way, ain't it?
You are going to come, right?
Yeah, Vera. I ain't got much holding me here. I haven't for years. Besides you guys, of course. I figure, fresh start. Why not, right?
Yes, I question at what point I'm going to be tired of fresh starts. But it doesn't look like we're going to have much of a choice.
Those words hang in the air for a while. Does Max respond, or does he allow those words to kind of sit?
He sort of grunts in affirmation to Vera's statement and seems lost in his own thoughts.
The thoughts are interrupted by the sound of a groaning as a man is leaned over in a nearby building, pissing into the street openly. Vera and Max step wide around as another man stumbles by out of a nearby bar and grumbles at Vera for something that you can't quite understand, though the words fuck and asshole were certainly in there, as he also stumbles his way into the street and directly into the line of fire of this other drunken peeing man. But about halfway down the block, where you can see the school coming into view just past the few buildings, can I get a wits awareness from you, both?
You know what? Just because I can, I think I'll put on heightened senses to make this, so I can add only a single success from Vera.
Sure. And a single success from Max as well. Do either one of you want to spend willpower to reroll any of it? I don't know what your willpowers are looking like.
Yeah, mine are getting... No, I'll hold out. I have a feeling I'm gonna need them for this conversation.
It's perhaps it's because the both of you were lost in thought. There's so much happening around you right now, a whirlwind of chaos, all trying to be wrangled and reined in by a single decision here or another decision there. It causes you to think and rethink things over, and while the sea of New York citizens passing by you is nothing new, with them shoulders bumping into yours and conversations passing by at rapid speed, it's when you hear your own name, Vera. Vera! Oh, I didn't expect to see you out tonight. And as you take a moment to clock that voice, and you turn your head, Aster stands there with a slew of about 5 other people, his entourage in tow. And he was looking at a building nearby, one that had a for sale sign out front. And he was clearly gazing upon it, and you walked by him, neither of you really seeing each other, at least it seemed at least that much, and as you passed by maybe 5 feet is when he called out to you, forcing you to turn around. Max, of course you hear this, however, it's seemingly he doesn't see you.
I imagine instead of her head tipping down, I imagine it's a sharp cut up as the hat kind of slices the air and you see her full face. And she attempts a smile. And she says, "Oh, I see that you are being escorted."
And he smiles wide with a white, toothy grin, his clean-shaven face and short, slicked-back hair, a prominent feature on his face. Just gestures to the others, like, "Oh no, business partners," and he motions grandly with his right hand, sweeping across everybody who stands anywhere near his way, forcing some civilians to step away for a moment. And as he gestures to the building to his right, says, "I'm going to be doing business in the area, I think, soon, relatively soon, and I was seeing what else had potential." Yes, that's the right word. Potential for a little bit more money poured into it to perhaps sprucing the place up to really draw the eyeballs to my new place of entertainment. And he ends that sentence with a flashy grin again.
I ignore him. I look to his investors. "All of you are interested in such endeavors? Live entertainment?"
One simply nods. They see what wonders they worked in Brooklyn. I'd love to do something similar out here.
"Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Vera Volkov. I'll be managing the new space for our dear Aster."
Aster spins and just gives them all a smile, and she's like, "A genius businesswoman. I taught her everything I know."
It's funny. The last time I asked Aster to invest in this neighborhood, he seemed quite uninterested. So I started from the ground up and ran a rather successful club.
She has my tenacity, I'll tell you. There's that moment of silence that lingers in the air. "I'm actually really glad I saw you while I was out here. Please." And he steps forward, closing that small distance, pushing his way past what people remain kind of between you. And he goes to put his arm around your shoulder.
No. I step back.
"We should, without missing a beat, he immediately continues to walk. He's like, "We should make distance between ourselves and them for a moment. Just to catch up, if you wouldn't mind."
Unless it has to do with business, we don't have much to catch up on.
"Oh, everything I do is business, Vera."
"Well, then I imagine we should keep it business," as I gesture to his arm.
He looks to it and kind of shrugs and begins to walk then, and leaving them behind, but heading back toward where you came from. As he steps a good distance with Vera, does she follow in tow?
I guess so.
He slides his hands in his jacket pocket, and as they're a good distance away, he's like, business of our kind, not theirs.
Oh, wonderful. So now I'm accepted.
No one knows still. I merely wish to pass this along because it feels like a rather opportune moment for you to perhaps make your return if that's something you're looking to do. You'll have myself and Cesar's backing, as you are well aware. Arturo has been enjoying his new position in the city's kept him rather busy. However, it's a long time at this point for him to have an official welcome. He's looking to hold Elysium in about 5 days, and I imagine nobody's come to tell you, so I was hoping I'd cross paths with you.
Are you considering of what a favor?
His lips frown down, he shakes his head. I simply figure if you want to return to the Camarilla and do so in a public fashion, Elysium is the place to do so.
Imagine it would be rather interesting to see a dead woman walk through the door.
He does kind of give a light chuckle to that. I do imagine that would be a show and a half. Never mind just one, but...
I will consider it. Thank you for your invitation.
I believe Cesar would love to see Duke there as well, if you'd like to pass along the invite.
Yes, I imagine Duke would also like to see his sire. I will make sure the coterie knows.
Of course. Remember, 5 days' time, Vera.
Yes, 5 days.
He turns to walk away, and then he stops after maybe one step and spins on the ball of his foot. It was a pleasure to see you as always, by the way. And he gives you a very polite, nod.
Aster.
Miss Volkov.
Your youngling.
She's that busy.
What was her horrible name again? Was it Betty? No, Deborah. Chelsea.
I swear I've said this to you before, but perhaps it's been a long while. Jealousy doesn't suit you, Vera.
Oh, no. I just wanted to know.
Would you love to meet her?
I imagine that would do you no favors. I just want to know. Does she entertain you like I did?
Vera, you were a singularly unique talent.
Good. Then may she waste away under your care, trying to be me. Good night, Aster.
You watch as he licks his teeth as you say that, maintaining that grin. And I imagine good night, Aster. It's you who walks away this time first.
Yes.
And you walk past him, brushing by him. And with purpose, retake your track.
Oh, his crew is still there? I make sure before I leave I speak to them as well. And I say, I do hope to see you all at the opening event. My performance will be splendid.
As you're walking actually up to them, because you have to walk by them again, you don't even approach them before they all turn their head, as is the draw of a Toreador. And as you approach, they are listening with all ears, seeming the draw of Aster seemingly absent now that he walked away from them, and now you have their gaze. And as you speak those words, they all seem to readily agree that it would be a show worth seeing with how Aster has spoken of his protege in the past.
Have a wonderful evening, and be wary. This block is full of riffraff.
One of them starts nervously looking over their shoulder as soon as you said that, while the rest all return to Aster's attention as he begins to stride up the street, and they begin to notice.
I walk right past Max, knowing he's there. Knowing he's there.
Yeah.
As you do, you hear a very distinct, to you anyway,
Jesus Christ, what a pack of a-holes.
It has been a long time since I've wanted to actually rip someone's throat out. Now I know how you feel, Max. Maybe one day we'll have a sire barbecue. Yes. That could be entertaining. Come, I guess we have more important things to deal with. Ugh.
You stride down the rest of the block, turn a corner, and there, the nonchalant-looking brick-building school lays before you. It's here where Max now begins to lead you, at least with his voice, needing to come visible once he begins entering the side areas. Essentially, without rehashing what we've gone through before in a past episode, going through a few holes in the wall and some very particularly tight squeezes, a false toilet gets slid to the side. Out crawls Max with can I get that? Oh, no, you kind of busted the hole a little wider last time, if I remember correctly. So this time I don't need you to make a roll as Max's wide shoulders and head birth forward from the toilet canal, climbing into the nearby stall. Then Vera follows suit, but much more elegantly and a lot easier than Max would.
Really, Max? This is how you come and go?
Yeah, sorry you had to squirm through a shitter there, Vera, but, the price you pay for, privacy, huh?
I'm gonna say this right now. Wherever it is we end up, I pray I never have to crawl through another shitter again.
Fair enough. I know it ain't really your cup of tea.
Out the bathroom into the nearby hall, and you're greeted with what you're greeted immediately in your ear by muffled music. Obviously a classical music of the sort. I am not a ballerina, so I'm not quite sure what music they would be practicing to. However, that music, it makes your way to the ears and you follow the sound down the hall to your left to a double set of doors that are locked if you touch the handle, but light is beaming out into the darkened hallway, and as you peer in the inside, you see 3 girls and the teacher standing. The girls are hand on a bar, legs incredibly straight, and as Vicky walks by with a plastic rod, the middle girl, she reaches back and whacks one of the legs, and you hear her just simply not shout, but sternly speak, straighter, toes, and then she whacks again at the toes with her plastic rod, and she begins to pace as they practice.
Oh, I imagine Max sees Vera flinch every time it comes down. That just a muscle memory of having been through training like that. Oh.
Yeah, she better not be pulling that shit on Stinky.
As Max peers in, perhaps to check, you see that those 3 girls are none match Stinky's unique look. But as you look in, another crack as she hits the arm of the girl on the left, and she just simply points but says no words.
Well, I hate to interrupt her. Well, whatever this is. I take my fingernail and just tap on like the glass of the door.
Yep, we hear a tap, and while the 3 girls do not seem to notice, Vicky immediately whips her head to the right just enough where you see the corner of her eye. She takes a moment, turns her head back to the girls, does one more kind of gesture over the 3 of them. Seeming appeased, she turns to the door, keeping the plastic rod in her hand, but sliding it behind her back as both her hands return to her backside. Strides up to the door and reaches out with her left hand and undead bolts the door and pushes it open. Surprised to see you here tonight.
Yes, well, I know my presence is always of great joy to you.
She wordlessly steps forward, into you to push you kind of away from the door and allow the door to slide shut behind her. Do you move out of the way or do you offer resistance? I'm just curious.
Oh, no, I'll step back to if she doesn't want to do it in front of the girls. And of course, I gesture. Max, of course, joins me.
Does Max ripple into yeah, I imagine, Max kind of is standing in the shadows. And as she steps out through the door and the door shuts behind her with a clack, and the metal bars kind of relock, she looks up to Max and just gives you a knowing nod but says nothing. And then her stoic, steely gaze returns back to Vera, her hands clasped behind her back once more. She wears a very simple gray dress that just goes from her neck all the way down to her heels with short sleeves. She keeps a bandana well wrapped over the top of her head as well.
I am so sorry to interrupt your lesson, but I have 2 points of business.
She kind of gives you a knowing look. Out with it.
One of which is a favor.
Her mouth closes and tenses at that, but allows you to continue.
I know we have already struck a deal for Stinky, but this one is, well, kind of a be-all, end-all, if you know what I mean. the block. It's being sold. My coterie and I have gone into hiding, if you haven't figured it out already. And the fact of the matter is things are not good. I can't continue to protect the school anymore.
And those taking over the block, will I owe them tribute instead?
I imagine so, though I can tell you one of them is my sire, and he is difficult.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, then.
Yes, well, if you had problems doing business with me, I grant you great patience with Aster.
Noted.
That being said, I wanted to give you a heads up so that you can make your own decisions. I may not be in this city much longer.
Will Stinky be going with you?
That is up to Stinky and Max.
She, for the first time in this conversation,
Yeah.
breaks her unblinking gaze from Vera and simply turns her head very subtly to Max.
Yeah, well, we talked it over, and, Stinky's gonna have to stick by me, just for practical reasons. But, listen, she says you've been treating her good. I'm glad to hear it.
She just gives you a gentle nod. She is a guest, and I made a promise. I uphold my word.
It's one thing you have always done.
At what point do I no longer allow or owe you my allegiance? And at what point should I make my presence known to the new sheriff in town, shall we call them?
You are out of my... all of it. You don't owe me anything. Not anymore. I don't own this block. I have squatter's rights, I've been told. So, if you would like an introduction, I'm more than happy to try to put you in contact with the right people. But I have one more thing. Also completely your choice. But it may mean a very important factor in not only us being on this block, but our lives.
I'm listening.
This evening, a hearse will be coming to the burned out club to retrieve the body of my butler.
I'm sorry for your loss, she says in a very emotionless way.
Thank you, I think. That being said, I cannot be seen, but I need the right people to believe I am escorting him and his body across town. I need you to pose as me, ride in the hearse.
No.
Okay.
All right, fair enough. Good talk.
She seems not surprised that the conversation came to an end so abruptly, but does turn her back and look to go enter her dance room.
If you change your mind...
As she's reaching, and you say that, she stops. She doesn't turn to face you, but she simply says, "Why would I risk my life for you? Any time, any moment I leave this building, I risk somebody discovering me and my life coming to a brief, abrupt end."
Because I can promise you that no kindred is going to let you live your life the way you are now if they own this block. If our plans go, well, as we have planned, then I can assure that at least I'll have the right people on my side when it's all done to stand with you. And assure you get to keep what you are owed. Because I promise you, the people moving into this block will take it from you.
Her hand comes off the door. She spins back around to the two of you. "And why does anybody care so much about you and your dead butler's body, then?"
If you really want to know, it's going to dig you in deeper into the problem. I'm trying to tell you exactly what you need to know. Anything more?
Yeah, take it from me. The less you know about this, the better.
She chews on her cheek for a moment, contemplating whether to take that advice or not. You've been straightforward with me, Vera, so I'll be straightforward with you. Should I find myself captured by somebody, I'd rather have information to trade than the very blood from my body, being I am what I am.
If you're captured, and they want information out of you, you know exactly where I'm located, exactly how to get into the club, and exactly who's involved.
Her gaze doesn't break from yours, but it is dead silent for seconds. Feels like minutes. I am in a unique position. There's a unique danger with my kind, Vera. How long will I be needed if I decide to help?
As soon as you're at the morgue, you can leave. Take a change of clothes, go out the back, be a different person. I can even send a car to pick you up.
All right.
Oh, thank you, Vicky.
I'm going to want to meet the person running the block as soon as possible.
Would you like them to come to your doorstep?
She just gives a nod.
I can arrange that.
When should I expect to be picked up?
Come to the club in about an hour. I'm going to suit you out in my attire, and all you have to do is ride.
She turns then once again wordlessly, elegantly spinning on her feet, opens the door to the dance room, and you hear her simply shout, "Straighten your legs!" as the door shuts behind you and you hear a crack once more.
Max, I hate asking people to do favors. Ugh.
Listen, since we're here, I want to check in on Stinky, huh?
Yes, of course. I'll leave you to your business. I could use a brisk walk.
Fair enough.
Oh, just I assume I know where Stinky's room is.
Oh, yeah, I would say about halfway down the hall, Vera and Max separate as Vera leaves and heads to the exit of this place, the same way which you came in. But you arrive, Max, a few doors down on your left-hand side, the room that Stinky tends to stay in, a small little dormitory room. As you open the door, she's actually sat there on her bed, a light beaming over, the overhead light beaming down in the room, illuminating a place filled with books and a smattering of comic books. She's actually reading a Batgirl comic. It looks like issue 3. I'm not quite sure what the title is. It's hard to tell at the angle, but as soon as you open the door, she drops it to the ground and looks up, and as she sees you, her face kind of lights up a bit.
Hey, kid, what's the rumpus?
She smiles. I wasn't expect. You're like a few days early. She pats her bed.
Yeah.
Max sits down.
It creaks under as you sit down.
Yeah, we had some business in the area. I thought I'd pop by.
Are you guys still talking about leaving New York and all that?
Yeah, that's looking more likely by the day, you know?
Well, I still want to go. If we can make that happen.
Yeah, don't you worry. We're gonna make sure that you're taken care of. Speaking of which, there's some stuff in the air right now that, well, this ain't necessarily gonna happen, but I just want to make sure. You got a place in this building that you think you could hide, be safe in?
She doesn't even really have to think about it. She just nods her head yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you to tell me where that is, so if anything goes south, I can come looking for you there.
Yeah, it's in the basement. There's a fake brick wall that hang on, I can show you. And she steps up, and she'll lead you down to the stairwell that swirls down another floor, down near a hallway, and you pass a boiler that you can hear roaring in a nearby room. And as you pass the boiler room at the end, there's a brick wall that if you were to look at it briefly or even, without thinking much, it blends in well with the rest. But knowing her pointing it out, you can see the brick itself is slightly lighter and faded than the rest of the brick wall around it. And as she walks up over to it, she kind of puts her whole body into it. As she puts her shoulder up against it, her right palm, and with the wall slides back, and she pushes again, and it slides back some more. until she can get her fingers wrapped around it and she can slide it off to the side just enough that she could squeeze through. And as you look through and you kind of push it off to the side where you can squeeze through as well, it is genuinely just an empty, blank brick room with 0 windows, a dirt floor, and no amenities whatsoever.
Okay.
Here, if things go bad, she's like, I've only been honestly in here a couple of times, not to hide, but just check it out. It's there's not a lot in here, I hope.
I get you. All right. Well, like I say, if there's trouble, you go here.
Do you think
and I'll
something's
come find you.
coming to attack the school?
Who knows? I just want to cover all the bases, you know? Better safe than sorry.
Okay, well, yeah. If anybody should know, it's you, so I'll be here if anything goes bad. Otherwise, I'll be here in the school waiting. Do you guys know where are you gonna go after you leave here?
Yeah, Duke's on it. He's gonna figure out.
He scares
He's good.
me.
He's organized that way.
Duke's scary.
Yeah, he is. You stay away from Duke.
She just nods. Yeah, you didn't have to ask me.
And since I'm here, I know it's a couple of days early, but
He pulls out a very battered McDonald's takeout cup from his coat, slices his palm, and puts a little blood into a cup.
She reaches forward for the cup once done, and she readily takes it down. She's changed her demeanor quite a bit about feeding from you. The first few times, certainly, there was hesitancy every time, in the cup and the like. It still kind of put her off. Now, though, she doesn't bat an eye. It's very simple. She just simply grabs the cup and she takes it all down as quickly as she can. And she looks to you with big eyes and just is like, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. No problem, kid.
Give yourself a dot of hunger.
You bet. Which Max then reaches into his pocket and pulls out that
another
second
Slurpee bag.
Yeah.
Down.
So they're both
bags.
drinking together.
Yeah, you are. You're drinking blood together, sharing a quaint moment. She tries to explain the plot, or what she thinks is the plot of the Batgirl comic right now, and she's very interested in it. It's Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. Mm-hmm. And she seems very interested. She kind of talks a little bit about the other comics she tried getting into, and none of them really clicked with her. But there's something about Batgirl that really, really stuck with her, and she laughs as she feels the ears that aren't there for her, but are there under the surface. And as the drinks finish,
he'll actually say, Max will probably be immediately when she brings up Batgirl, get into a conversation. It's like, oh yeah, you actually got to read some of the Suicide Squad comics when she was Oracle. That was pretty good. John Ostrander wrote those back in the 80s. I'll see if I can get some of those for you.
She looks wildly interested and eager to consume whatever you're willing to bring her. As she's only really been able, she explains to you, she's only really been able to steal these comics. She tends to go out in the middle of the night a couple of times, and she's got a local comic shop she's been breaking into, as she tells you openly without concern, and taking what she can every couple of weeks.
Okay, all right, but you got to support your local comic shop, all right? So I'm going to drop a few bucks there when I get a chance. But, oh yeah, you probably want the Gail Simone run. You're gonna want to read the Gail Simone stuff. It's pretty good.
She just quickly jotting it down on a loose piece of paper, and she's like, next time I go, I'll look for him. That sounds really fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay, kid.
Conversation.
Anyhow, take care.
Yep.
Remember what I said. All right? You keep yourself safe.
I promise. I'll be down there in a flash if I have to.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll get you some Flash comics, too.
She smiles at that as Max stands up and throws his coat on, and out the door he walks. Vera, the scene will cut back to the place where Sava and Duke have been waiting. It's been about an hour and a half, and you hear Vera return before Max. Her heels clacking down the stairs and rounding the corner. There, Sava and Duke are... What are you doing, the two of you? What is the scene that Vera walks into?
Sava is sitting in a corner where he can see everything going on, with his boots up on another chair, and he's like doing a crossword in a paper.
What are the odds that there's some things that are like kind of panning around Duke's mind right now that he is sort of stuck on, and there's just too many like correlations that are not quite fitting into the puzzle. Is there a way that I can tie or try to attempt to tie more of the events that happened at the club previous season to Father?
Yeah. With the evidence that you have at the moment.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, you can. I don't know if I want to make you roll. Just tell you. I would have to make you roll an intelligence investigation roll. What are your specialties?
My specialties are in investigations, criminology.
I mean, I wouldn't say criminology necessarily is like this. So I would just have you intelligence investigation roll.
Sure. Then I am.
And you're looking specifically, Duke is looking to connect something in his mind between Father and why it was the Second Inquisition that attacked?
Particularly, I'm looking for the events in the basement.
Oh, you're talking about the demon thing? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
Because I remember specifically in our Christmas event, right? He was very protective of that cable around his neck. And that feels very strange unless there is some sort of mannerism, but it wasn't quite proclaimed when they've spoken about Antoine.
I would
far.
say instead of an intelligence
different.
investigation, that's an intelligence occult.
Okay.
I was conflating two different club events. Sorry.
Oh, hi. It's me, Vera. While you're taking a break, take a moment to visit dieharddice.com. Die Hard Dice is a sponsor of this little podcast. They make what we do possible. During checkout, make sure to use the code DRACPAK, DRACPAK, and you'll get 10% off your entire purchase. And we get a little cut for our own resources. Sounds like we only roll with the best.
What was that club called? Club Omnia.
Omnia, yeah.
Omnia.
Look at that delicious roll. You could re-roll 3 of them too if you want to even like pad that. It's a flat 4.
I will.
You throw in a 5.
5.
I mean, 5 is like, you're always like, that's like what you want. I would say that while you don't know like details or intricacies of demon summoning, that even the Sabbat themselves look down on it. Like Vera could tell you that. Like that's not something you wouldn't necessarily need to know.
Right.
But demons themselves are not known to, as far as you know, whenever there's a demon problem, it's usually a possession thing. But again, demons are you wouldn't know shit about them, honestly.
I've had no access to it.
You could take
they've been very particular
like
about
general occult knowledge out in the world and can see that at the very least to bring that thing into existence, it clearly needed some sort of sacrifices, which seems to fit along those lines. Yeah. But other than that, I'm game for Duke to at the very least theorize that red cord has something to do with some supernatural something, and demons the only thing that seems to make that Duke can connect it to. Yeah. I guess yes is the answer. I just don't know what else. I wish I could give you more. I just don't know what else I can give you.
That should be fine. I think Duke will kind of like immediately present himself in a way that you see that he's got an idea. Like normally you have to be like Duke, but this time he's there. He's at your attention.
Duke, I can see your light bulb is burning. What is wrong?
There have been too many things, Vera, that have not quite been answered yet. The puzzle has not assembled itself entirely.
Okay.
I see the purpose of the Thin Bloods. I see some of the machinations that this Antoine figure has gone through to establish his reasoning, even if it is wickedly petty. I'm struggling to see his reasoning for the events that transpired in the Omnia basement.
Oh, yes, the creature.
So I've done some research. I've recalled some information that I received when I was still under the tutelage of Cesar. He had us, well, me particularly. This is a thing that happens in the Ventru. Let this be an insight. They go into vast studying for a while, sometimes months, sometimes years. I've even been told as long as up to 5 decades under the tutelage of their sire. I was significantly swifter than that.
I have no doubt.
There's a bit of a problem within the Ventru that they believe that they are designed to rule, and I can gather as such why they might believe that. The problem is that every clan has these issues. They all do. The Zim is very interesting. This is a Mitzi. I don't really know enough about it. Not really had much exposure to it. There's not exactly a guidebook on to determine these things. Sabbat is also something I'm very limited on my knowledge of, though both of you would be quite interesting in aiding that information for me. I know that it's frowned upon in the Camarilla to utilize demonic aid.
Yes.
Is it similarly
In Sabbat as well.
Big
as I
no-no.
figured?
Yes, it's just more trouble than even they're interested in.
Okay, what the hell did I walk into?
It's the talk of Antoine.
Duke is having thoughts.
All right, do tell.
I have a theory that Father is going through the art of demonic summoning. I don't have a lot of founded proof at the moment. This is why it's a theory. 10 years ago, at the skating rink, the figure that we had met, that we have now come to realize as Antoine, he held a red cable around his neck, loosely so, similarly to that of a rosary that might hang over a Catholic individual.
Doesn't ring any bells.
Wait, he was wearing a red cable on our date.
Yeah, and you weren't there, Sava.
No, but he's never been particularly fashionable, and sticking with one decoration or another is not his style.
I see what you're saying.
Yes, and I thought it was just simply maybe something to go along with his religious nonsense, but you think it's something more?
I think it is something more. I think it... Well, I don't have a quite technical name for it yet. There's terminology for the material possessions that one spiritually inhabits to a degree when they're alive. Think iconic memorabilia. For instance, with like Golden Eye, 007, that the gun pose, that the suit and tie, it's iconic to him, correct?
Who?
Every figure...
Oh, come on,
has-
Vera. You really need to watch modern shit. It's... Well, some of it's good.
Okay, I get it. A staple representation.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. For instance, and Duke will remove a pen that he carries. I've had this for, well, likely more years than most people outside have been alive. It's an aluminum pen. It looks like it's been bent at the top, so the actual like clasp that clips to things is snapped away. But the pen itself is aluminum. It's worn quite a bit.
Okay. So you think it has personal value?
Very much so. Very much so. And this is important to those that have the means of contacting past lives. There are those that are inside the kindred society that can contact the dead. Those that have even gone as far as traversing the abyss. Saba might have some knowledge of that.
You think this has anything to do with his tendency to jump around in bodies?
Perchance. That might be a flavor of disguise. I think that this cable is tied directly to the infernal arts of that basement.
Well, you don't gotta tell me. I looked at that thing with these own 2 peepers, you know?
I think we could render him without some control, and potentially even power, if we were to either destroy that cable or remove it from his person entirely.
Well, I wish I had known that before we sat down. I could have snatched it from him. Maybe we can still get it. I'm technically meeting with him at the end of the week, right? To give our final decision.
Yeah, 5 days time from here.
I could try. I'm known to be rather fast.
I think when we move the body to the Chantry, there's a very good chance that the Regent can answer that.
I leave that to you. You did a fantastic job of communicating with them last time, and honestly, they give me the heebie-jeebies.
A term I'm familiar with. That's from what I've been told what I can do to people as well.
Oh, pish-posh, you're wonderful. Like a wreath on a door for Christmas.
I hate Christmas.
I know.
Vera, can I get an intelligence resolve from you? It's enough. As you're bringing it up, you're like, oh yeah, I'm to meet with him at the end of the week, 5 days from now. It does ring a bell. Oh, Elysium is in 5 days. Nobody here also knows that. You're the only one.
Okay. So, I had a little run-in with our dear Aster on the way to see Vicky. I have good news. Vicky's on board. She'll be here probably within the hour. She wasn't very amenable to wanting to pose at me, but, do with what we can. Yes, I was told by Aster Elysium is happening. I know that we were talking about it, but we have a date. 5 days' time. The same amount of time I was given by Antoine to make a decision.
It seems like my Elysium jump idea is catching on.
Yes. My bigger fear is that if we say no, he'll pull the trigger on the spot. I don't think that's a coincidence that the dates line up so perfectly.
So that's his plan then, the play.
I think so. Elysium seems right. He'll be this end of town. I don't know yet where it's being held, but I imagine we'll find out shortly. And as soon as we know, he'll know. I thought since you're so buddy-buddy with the Chantry, it might be a good idea to let them know.
Yes. Yes. That would be valuable.
Here's the thing. What happens if you tell him yes? You tell him yes. We make like we're gonna play ball.
Well, I imagine he'd want to escort us out of the city, and hopefully would uphold his end of the bargain. There is also the other idea I threw out.
I'm all ears at this point. I'm mostly drawing at straws, waiting for time to pass.
I could simply ask him to leave with me.
That I like. That might get him to drop his defenses.
He drops everything, I drop everything, and he gets his comeuppings or whatever it is he feels he needs over me. I can't swear he'll take it. He seems a bit upset with our last conversation, but I could try.
Might put him on his back foot anyway. Might be something he's not expecting.
The problem is, he's been a step ahead of us the whole time. So I imagine if I choose to leave with him, he's going to have some tricky things in place, forcing me to actually come through the agreement.
Where are you supposed to meet him?
He said he would come to me.
Yeah. All right.
I don't think he's going to take that bait.
I imagine not. It is a short straw, to say the least. But it is his weakness, Duke.
I think everything is his weakness. And that's part of what I was saying about clans. Right? The Ventru believe that they're supposed to rule. And from what I've been told of the Samitsi is they have a bit of a collection issue. You, he believes, was part of his collection. You left. But now he's accumulated more. He wants you back, but he's not going to lose what he already has. Not at least without claiming more.
But what if he gets something more valuable than all of that? Do you trade up your treasure hoard for the single most valuable item in it?
No, I don't think he's going to trade. I think he's going to try to take both. That's how a dragon thinks.
Well, I'll be honest. Either we pack our bags and leave New York to its own devices, or we show up at Elysium. He'll know if we don't go.
Well, I guess we got, 5 days to decide? In the
We
meantime...
can't let him know we know the plan, but if we warn the Chantry, maybe they can take some extra measures, knowing what it is he's bringing through the door. I also suggest if you have any friends in town, people that shouldn't be on the streets that night, you tell them to find a bunker and stay hidden.
Okay.
I can alert the Chantry. In the interim, I think someone should be hitting a local convenience store and buying as much SPF as possible.
Seems like a good idea. I guess all we can do is get the prince moved, let the Chantry know, and start planning our outfits for Elysium.
Question. I hate the idea of going to Elysium, but I feel like for a great many reasons it might be a good idea if I go.
Oh, it's a bold move, Sava. What, are you going to introduce yourself?
Introduce myself, save a few old vampires from getting dusted, owing me favors, etc.
You know, showing up at just the right moment might do you some good. A little heroic entrance, hmm?
Exactly.
Not a bad idea.
Which brings me to the fact that I'm not that confident I can just step in there. So what makes Antoine think he could do it? Who is he working with?
Yeah, that's the thought.
I have a friend I might be able to ask.
As Duke said, we are all in at this point, pulling at straws, so...
Right, so first things first. We get the prince to the Chantry tonight, yeah?
Yes, we need to get her out of our care and office property before Aster takes it over.
Okay, then. Alright, I'll start getting her loaded up. When's Vicky gonna be here?
What if at Elysium he shows up as Sean? That could be his play. He shows up as Sean. He'll be welcomed in. He's seen already.
Oh,
He's
dear.
recognized in the Camarilla.
Sure. That could work.
If we're there, we're not dead. And all they have to go off of is our word, and then suddenly Sean Best shows up at the door. There will be some explaining.
Well, I guess we can set an all-out call to not allow Sean in the door. If the Chantry is in on what we are doing, we simply tell them, as they know, Sean is dead, and he's been in the care of the Sabbat for nigh on a year.
Do people like this, Sean?
Yeah,
No, not at all.
I like
that
them.
Just to
depends.
us,
I like
mostly.
them. I like them.
It's
It
the thing,
was-
Saba. Nobody really cares about the thin bloods in this city, which is why Father has managed to pick them up rather swiftly and with ease.
Yes, well, I think he's wrong. There are some people who care about the Thin Bloods in this city.
If no one likes Sean, then he's probably going to turn up with that other thin blood.
What other Thin Blood?
The asshole Meer told me about. He was like, he had a position.
Larson.
Sounds like an asshole's name
Robert
to me.
Larson.
Larson's going to return. This will be one night, remember, everybody. I guess we should start making some very quick motions. I'm going to go call in John's death. He needs to stay underground for a while. Vicky also believes him to be dead. This is why she's doing me the favor.
As the plan is laid out, and our characters begin to mull about their separate ways heading to the Chantry this evening, the camera swings to the ceiling, getting us a top-down view of them, and as it zooms out, it fades to black, and as it fades back in, we now look at this area top-down. A hearse pulls up, we see a figure we know to be Vicky slide in, and as the cars go their separate ways, all transporting what needs to be moved to the Chantry as secretly as possible, our screen goes black. And we will pick up next week at the Chantry. Goodbye, everybody.
Hi there, mortals. Thanks for tuning in. It's your dear Vera Volkov, and I'm here to tell you that the club is undergoing a few renovations after a little accident, and we could use all the resources to get us back on our feet. You can help us by either joining our Patreon or getting your hands on an official Stitch of Fate or Drakpack t-shirt by visiting TeePublic and searching Pod by Night. Well, go on. What are you waiting for?